This video is not for whales and dolphins. It's for you, because you are just like me. Average Luck Gamer here, and today it's time to talk about Astra and Evelyn. And I'm sorry I'm kind of late to this news, but we had a lot of Miyabi content to make. But now 1.5 ain't that far away, and I imagine it'll be here before we know it. And then we can just say goodbye to Soldier 11 forever. But first things first, let's talk about Astra. Now, I'm going to talk about a bunch of stuff, but nothing is confirmed, and it's all speculation at this point, except for the agent types. Now, Astra is going to be our first limited S-rank support. And considering that Nicole is our A-rank ether support, honestly, I think we're in for something special. Now, Astra might not directly replace Nicole because she won't necessarily buff ether damage in the same way, but my guess would be that she would be a more universal Nicole, kind of like Caesar. Caesar was our first limited S-rank defense agent, and she can kind of fit in any team, and I think that Astra might follow that same kind of path, just being incredibly useful in lots of teams. Now, what do we think she's actually gonna do? Well, as Miyabi launched, we got two sets of drive discs. The first, Branch and Blade, was very clearly designed around Miyabi, and the second set is called Astral Voice. Now, I wonder if that's been designed for one of the new characters. Maybe the singer, called Astra. Who knows? Okay, so let's take a look at it. So the 2-piece just buffs attack, but the 4-piece enables characters to gain 3 stacks of Astral upon a quick assist, which increases damage dealt by 8% per stack, which is a total damage increase potential of 24%, each stack lasting 15 seconds. I think it would be a pretty safe assumption to make that Astra would have something built into her kit to enable quick assists, and more so than Nicole or Lucy, who can trigger them with their EX specials. Because of this drive set, I would imagine that it's even easier for Astra to trigger quick assists, maybe part of her normal attack string after 3 hits or something, considering that you would need to gain the stacks pretty quickly in order to get the most out of the set. Or maybe she grants an additional stack of Astral on quick assist, but it's still tied to her EX special like Nicole. Either way, I think there'll be some kind of way of getting the Astral stacks up quickly on Astra. Now, on the subject of Nicole provides some buffs that are kind of useful to a lot of characters, and some which are more tied to the ether element. So Nicole reduces defense and can buff crit rate at M6, which is great for everyone, but then she also has ether damage bonus with her additional ability, which is basically only useful for KQR in terms of who is available in the game right now. And I think in terms of power level, Astra will be more universal and potentially in most circumstances a better Nicole. Now, I still think Nicole is a fantastic character, and I think sometimes it'll still be optimal to play her, particularly at M6, because she is really useful, but it wouldn't surprise me if Astra is just a more universal, and let's face it, better version of Nicole. And honestly, the fact that I'm even talking about this kind of just shows how good Nicole is, because if Astra is just always better than Nicole, then she'll be busted good. And to be clear, she could be, because we are talking about a free A-rank character, not even one you have to pull for, in Nicole versus a limited S-rank character with Astra. So she could be great. But just before we move on to the subject of Evelyn, this is your reminder that you probably aren't subscribed. Liking and subscribing is the best way to support small creators like me on YouTube. And if you want to hang out with some chill peeps, then feel free to join the Discord. And if you're interested in streams, then drop me a follow on Twitch. Anyway, let's move on and talk about Evelyn. So Evelyn is going to be our fire attack agent in 1.5. And again, this discussion is all speculative from this point, but we really don't have anything in-game to point towards the way that she's going to work like we do with Astra and the Astral Voice drive discs. But we do have an existing S-rank fire attack agent, Soldier 11. Now, Soldier 11 is on the standard banner, and it's safe to say that in terms of DPS, she does do okay. But as the only standard S-rank attacker at launch, followed up with a 1.0 patch, stacked with 2 limited S-rank attack agents, it was over before it even started, really. Now, Soldier 11 did have her saving grace, which was her element, fire. As the only fire DPS, she could be run in pretty solid teams, like with Khalida and Lucy, or nowadays with Lighter. And I guess that fire element was her point, as in it made her usable when compared to Ellen or Ju-Yuan. But if you lucked into Khalida early as well as Soldier 11, for example, but now it's over, because the only other argument to be made for Soldier 11 is that maybe she works better with her faction. But what faction? She's been in the game since the start, and we still don't have any news on Obol Squad. Soldier 11 mains, I'm sorry, but limited S-rank attack agents kind of left her behind at the start, and now the fire element, which was her only saving grace, has just been ripped away from her. As for Evelyn more specifically, we can probably expect a power level similar to Ju-Yuan's, but now following the ultimate change where characters build up their own decibels, I wouldn't be too surprised if either the multipliers are buffed for Evelyn's ult, or if Evelyn's ultimate works differently entirely. Potentially she goes into a high damage state for a certain period or something, because there were big winners and big losers of the ultimate change, and anomaly characters definitely benefited because you would normally have to choose between Jane's and Bernice's ultimate, and now you can just use both. But attack characters are having longer between ultimates, so I would expect Evelyn's to be a change in some way as the first attacker ultimate following the change. Honestly though, I do think the decibel change is good for basically everyone except attack agents. Maybe I'll make a whole video about it. Let me know down below. In terms of the question about whether Miyabi has set a new bar and now future characters will have to meet it, I don't think so. Miyabi is our first Void Hunter, and I think she'll stand alone for a while as the strongest character. I don't think that everything that came before is going to be invalidated, and we need to drop our old characters to keep up with power creep. I don't think that's what's happening, and I guess Evelyn will show us one way or the other. But yeah, still, goodbye Soldier 11. Which kind of opens up the question that I've mentioned before about filling in the gaps. I think that some of these characters would be a lot more appealing if they were just new types as opposed to the same as existing characters. What about Ice Defense or Ether Anomaly or Ether Stun? It's still odd that we're getting new characters that are the same types as characters that we already have. Because I've joked about it enough, but if you have Soldier 11, maybe supported by Lighter and Lucy right now, great fire team, do you bother with Evelyn? I mean, you're still going to be able to clear with Soldier 11, right? So what's the point? Maybe 20 seconds faster on a clear time when you already had a minute to spare? But I guess you can say that about any character. Just as a player, it's more appealing to me to get a character with all new typing first. Now, in terms of the general banner setup, it's all still guesswork at this point, but I think we'll go back to single banners for 1.5, potentially with reruns of older characters. I think that 1.4 is giving everyone plenty of time to get Miyabi, and if this goes well, then we may see it happening again in 2.0, for example, with our next Void Hunter or whenever that may be. This is going to sound pretty bad, but on reflection, I just don't think that Hoyo are nice enough to low spend and free-to-play players to run 2 new characters for a whole patch. Because that would mean you could choose either one and have 35-ish days to build up the currency to get them. Don't get me wrong, 1.4's banner setup is great for the player base, but it's because of Haramasa being given away for free and for our first Void Hunter in Miyabi. Moving forwards, I don't see it happening every banner, but I can see it coming back here and there. Again, I would like for it to continue into 1.5, I just don't think it will. Now, at this early stage and quite far away from confirmed info, I do think that of the 2 characters, Astra seems like she'll be the more meta pick. Supports are usually the smart pickup, but I do have to say that Evelyn is the obvious waifu pick, so I know what you're gonna do. Yeah, that's right. I also kind of liked her more when she was angry. Anyway, let me know what you actually are planning to do down below. If you're interested, another video of mine should pop up now. It's time for me to go and check out all of the new stuff added in 1.4. Did I mention that I absolutely love this game and we keep getting more endgame content? It's amazing. Bless you, Zenless Zone Zero devs. Lastly, remember to like and subscribe for better than average luck on all your pulls. Pull responsibly. Stay weird. Bye.